highest peaks in Venezuela are at the center of an ambitious rebuilding program. It's an effort to reconstruct the country's tourism industry, and part of that is to build the Mérida cable car, the longest and highest in the world. Building it almost 5 kilometers up in the northern Andes takes nerve and precise planning. 450 engineers work around the clock, battling severe weather conditions and the altitude. And being in a national park, the project has to be sensitive to the environment, recycling materials and limiting the extent of the work's effects on the surrounding area. And the cable car has to lift its own building materials, up to 2,000 tons per trip. The Venezuelan government is putting 246 million euros into the project.
Mucho más allá de una inversión económica, mucho más allá de una proeza tecnológica.
Beyond the economic investment, beyond the technological achievement, this cable car aims to create environmental awareness, stimulate visitors to know nature and to enjoy high mountain activities.
A que conozcan la naturaleza, a que se recreen con las modalidades de alta montaña.
The region is a favorite destination for Venezuelans. Tired of tropical temperatures, it's something of an exotic novelty to spend time in the heights and wear gloves and woolly hats for a few days. The new cable car, due to open at the end of 2013, should attract international visitors too. Venezuela's socialist government has recently approved a new tourism law, aiming to promote sustainable tourism. Some established businessmen in Mérida are happy with these developments, but want better transport links.
En Mérida estamos recibiendo un promedio de 3, 4.
In Mérida, we get an average of 3 or 4 flights, sometimes fewer. So there is a capacity problem bringing visitors in and out. It is a constructive criticism that we direct to the state authorities. We need to improve the number of flights to Mérida.
La capacidad de la cantidad de aviones que vengan a la ciudad de Mérida.
By road, it's a 12-hour trip to Caracas. The government is trying to get airlines to operate more flights, but takeoff and landing in Mérida, surrounded by mountains, is not an easy job. As a gesture of commitment, the Venezuelan International Tourism Fair will be held in Mérida next year. The capital, Caracas, hosted it this year. But surrounded by tourism giants like the Dominican Republic, Venezuela has long been the Cinderella of the industry.
Yo creo que el mayor enemigo que Venezuela ha tenido del turismo ha sido el petróleo, porque
I think the biggest enemy that Venezuelan tourism has had in the past is oil, because it made such an enormous contribution to the country's bank balance, it put other kinds of economic alternatives in the shade. But oil is not an enemy anymore, and there's more attention being given to tourism.
Creo que está dejando de serlo y cada vez Venezuela está prestando efectivamente una mayor atención al turismo.
Venezuela's tourism minister said the government has turned to what he calls green oil, and a mainstay of the new law is making credit easier for the tourism business.
Al día de hoy, la tasa de interés en el sector turismo.
The cost of borrowing for tourism entrepreneurs is down to 10.5%, thanks to the new law. That's a very attractive rate in Venezuela, and it could be as low as 7.5% in tourist areas. In 12 years, we've increased the number of tourism companies from 3,000 to 14,000.
There's been a concerted effort to bring tourism to the capital, Caracas, too. Once known as one of the most violent cities in the world, authorities are training city tour guides and have deployed the so-called Heritage Guard to monitor the city centre.